Yeah. Tomorrow.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
Did Melissa say she's not coming, or?
She said she would be here.
Okay.
She might be late.
Okay. All right, at this time, I'd like to call this special meeting of the Hinckley Township Board of Trustees to order on Friday, October 27 at 3 p.m. for the purpose of a work session. I will call the roll. Asherle?
Here.
Sweattick here. Trustee Augustine is not here yet. So I guess the first thing I'd like to look through the employee manual. You okay with that?
Okay. Or do you want to do, so the ladies can leave? They wanted
Okay,
to
well,
join in with the,
The discussion was,
That's what I'm saying. She wanted to bring that up. Do you know what she wanted to say?
well,
I'm okay.
to jump ahead just a little bit, and if we want to wait, then we can wait.
Okay.
But so the public knows what we're discussing is the Google Drive, again, having this conversation. I've spoken to both of the ladies in the front office, and and correct me if I'm wrong, both of you, you tried it once with the records request that came in, and it actually was simpler because should you receive the same records request, again, now you can just send someone the login information. But the concern is setting parameters. Suzanne, you were concerned about parameters, like how long will the record remain in the Google Drive and what goes into it, right? Because we said not every single records request, but the large records request that we're going to have, that's where you want to be able to say, okay, here it is. So when someone's requesting this, here's the login. So you can get in there and see the information. I mean, I know that I just spoke with Chief Sentner again, and they just had another record for the same records request that has come in multiple times. And it would have been simpler because he said he's getting it. And I said, well, doesn't Suzanne have everything? So if we had that on the Google Drive, it would be simpler to just say, here's the login. So you can get it right away.
And that particular request, I think, was somewhat different. So I'm not going to assume that it's the same because there might be additional information that might not have existed in the first responses to the one that was requested.
Okay.
So
there's differences. You can't assume that what is already out there is.
You need to use this. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Can't use the microphone.
Oh.
Otherwise, I'll get yelled at. Come on, there's plenty of seats. Come on, sit up.
Everybody could come sit down. Like, we literally have a seat for
And actually,
every single
you too,
person
because I
in the
have some
audience.
questions for you.
Okay,
So-
all right. Well, I have a really loud voice. I mean, my UPS days,
Package here.
Our voices are always carried.
You want to,
Well, you sat where there was no microphone, so. Actually, we can share one. I guess we don't.
No, I think it's really loud.
Well, we're all gonna have
Okay, so
our own.
I'm
who's
assuming,
taking minutes? Are you taking
I'm
minutes?
taking minutes, yeah.
I'm assuming that you're familiar with Google Drive.
To a certain extent, yes.
So let me ask you this, Suzanne and I had a discussion the other day. You have a Google Drive, and inside it are folders, and you can create a hierarchy in there, correct?
Right, there is, you can,
Right.
viewers only, you can have editors,
I'm
that kind
talking
of
about
thing.
how you're structuring it. It's
Oh,
very,
okay.
very similar to a file structure on the computer, correct?
Pretty much. I mean, it's just a lot of it is just you just like click and drag the files you want for that particular thing.
But it's like folders and subfolders, and then do you have the ability to restrict access to any and all folders?
That I don't know, but I would assume it is. But when you give that person access to the Google Drive, you set them up as like an editor, a viewer only, so that they can either,
We can just make it, you can peek.
and it's individual email addresses that you share the Google Drive with.
Okay,
So it has to be an email address, a valid email.
so somebody could
address.
ask and say, can I have access?
Yes,
See, for me, in the discussion I had here is I said, I don't care if anybody wants to look through my entire computer. There is nothing in here that I don't care that anybody sees. With that being said, is it a burden to create a folder? Because my first thought was, you do a public records request, dump it into that folder. Then if somebody else asks for it, you can give them access to it and they can see it.
one of the only issues with that is Google Cloud storage. If you exceed a certain storage, and we don't know the specs on it, because we did send an email to our Google, our Gmail guru. And we haven't heard back from him yet, but
So you could exceed the capacity.
you could exceed the capacity. And then the problem is you have to pay for that additional cloud
Right,
storage.
okay,
So that's a caveat there.
okay.
Isn't it taking up a lot of storage on the computer also to keep it?
It's on the NAS, so it's, I mean, we have a lot of storage on the NAS, but I don't know.
In
the specs on
general,
that one.
aren't the bulk of these PDF documents that are, couple kilobyte? Yes, no?
Some of them, I mean, I don't know. I don't know all
I think
about
it's only
records
when you
requests.
get into like video recordings that yeah. So maybe we can treat those differently, that or set those aside as an addendum to it and say, video recordings are available if necessary.
Yeah. I don't know how big the one that we got just recently was. I don't remember how big it ended up being, the one that was just recently requested that we filled, like from the one from 1011.
Yeah, it was probably 400 pages-ish.
Well, what I would like to say is that we move forward with it as a test bed at this point. Load what you think into there, and then if something comes in, then you can obviously, put it out there that if somebody else can give them access to it to see. For some of the things and the others may have a different opinion. I was like, if there's something in there, leave the whole thing open for available for viewing if they wanted. That's my opinion.
Okay, we have a couple of questions with that. As far as records retention, and I'm gonna toss it over to Suzanne, but we were doing as a test and we were thinking that, we leave it up there for a month or 2 months for that person to access, and it's individual persons have to request access because we have to allow that when we give the permissions to the individual person that asks for it. We have to have their email address to add for it. No? I'm seeing a no.
No, a public records request, can be anonymous. You don't have to provide any identifying information.
Oh, okay, all
And
right.
that's why my thought process was, you put it in there, it's available to view. It's no different, as I explained to Suzanne, it's no different if you hand somebody a hard copy, they can make a copy of it and share it anywhere they want. You give it to them electronically, same thing. All we're doing is providing access to that response to the request.
Which is what we had discussed last week when I spoke to both of you, when we conferenced in the speaker, is that, what happens to it after the fact, the burden of responsibility no longer falls on us. The burden of responsibility for us is providing what is requested of the requester. I mean, not even the resident, anybody can do it. So
Another thing that I was talking to person who's very knowledgeable in regard to as far as if you allow access to that particular email address and something happens with that person's out of this township's email address, like let's say it's got viruses attached to it, shows up on the black web. I asked him, because he's got a security background, he's got a cloud background and all that. And basically what he said is we do run we as a township run a little bit of risk factor in that if they have their email address and it shows up on the dark web, or it shows up and gets viruses attached to it, whatever, on their computer, we do run a little bit of a risk, is what he said, with that Google Drive becoming corrupted because of that. So that's just another tossing it out there, just so you guys know. Not a real big risk, but
Is that a risk if you don't require an email?
I would think it would be, but I don't think it is
To just view?
yeah, I don't think it is. I think it's just
Yeah,
if you allow them access via email.
that's why I'm saying that I think that, you know, if you have something that you assemble those documents for and put them in a file there, tell the respondent that they're there and they can view them from there, I mean, the requester. And or you provide them the documents traditionally, but also put them there for viewing if they want. And if somebody else looks at them, so be it. Again, it's a public record and someone has already requested it. So if we want to run that as a test bed, I would be fine with that, you know, see how it's working out, see what kind of memory you're using up. And then if it becomes a problem, then we can revert, but I don't see it. I think in the end, it would be easier that if somebody's able to see it and go, this is exactly what I need. I don't need to ask these women again and bother them, you know, move on. Or if there's something missing from there, they can specifically ask for something additional. I think I've said my piece.
So there's a couple things that, when Lynn and I were trying to do the test, we came, like, as you mentioned, Monique, the expiration of the record. How long do we keep it out there? Do we create some sort of disclaimer that is a cover sheet to the record where it states specifically what the request was, with a time frame of this record is from 2023 to 2024, with a summary?
That would be good from a bookkeeping perspective alone, you know that that's what's there.
I think this was my idea that I bounced off of both of you. I would say if we have parameters set up for like a 3 month, like this will remain for 3 months, unless requests continue to come in for it. If requests continue to come in for it, then it makes sense to leave it up there longer. A record, I mean, you can request a record, you know, from 5 years ago if we still have it, right? But we have a 2-year records retention policy. So just because something may be removed after 3 months does not mean that it's no longer available. It just means it's not available on the Google Drive unless the requests continue to come in for it. Like the police thing was a perfect example of that, because you had a lot of records requests for that, and then you had nothing for like 6 months, right? But then they start coming in again. So it would be helpful to just load those on there. So I was thinking, like maybe a 3 month, 6 months, whatever you're thinking, because you're thinking about storage and things like that. If we want to just say it will be up there for 3 months. And then after 3 months, if the record requests have stopped, then we'll remove that one. And maybe we'll have times where we have nothing on the Google Drive. It's because we're not getting them. They're not coming in.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's a tool. Yeah. And if it benefits us in some form, I think it's a good thing. I mean,
And we talked about like a case by case or discretionary based on the size and number of requests. I just lost my train of thought. What was I going to say?
The, what we had talked about earlier with the, like, your record retention schedule, like there's no.
Right, so the RC2, it only shows like a paper format for public records requests, and that's something that we'll have to probably work with Martha to have that updated, because if everything's digital and the records retention only says paper format, then that digital record will have to be maintained. So that's one thing.
But we currently fulfill records requests for some people digitally. Just they don't want them paper copy. They just want them electronically.
Correct, yes.
How's that different?
As far as the record retention,
Right,
it's a 2-year period.
right.
And then as long as it's been through an audit process, then the records retention says any paper copies you can get rid of, but it doesn't address digital or electronic.
Okay.
So that will be something that we'll just have to.
But so that's something that's already out there right now because it has not been addressed because we've fulfilled many records requests
Right.
digitally already.
Right.
Okay.
So, based on the size or number of requests, Lynn and I were talking and we said, if it would create more than 2 emails to respond with the PDF, then we would put it on the drive. If it was less than 2 emails that would contain the data, then it would just be maintained as a digital email format. Because it would be small, like what,
Yeah, but I like the idea of it being there if somebody wants, instead of having to, again, contact the township and do a public records request, if they can just see it there without having to interact further.
I'll have to
That
do
makes
more
sense.
studying on Google Drives. I have to do more studying on it because I don't know all that it can do and what's the limitations of it. So I do have to do that because I'm asking my husband and he's letting me know because I don't know everything there is to know about Google Drive. So, but
But wouldn't it be less limitations if it's smaller? If I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying even smaller ones to,
Yeah, just create a
if
file and
it's
put it in there.
frequently requested.
well, yeah, if it's frequently requested, that's when we can utilize the Google Drive. I mean, that makes sense. But if it's just a one-shot deal and, it's not asked again, then it's really isn't a point to put it on the Google Drive.
Well, and one of the reasons that I went in that direction as well was that Suzanne had mentioned something about somebody in the township having something, Hinckley TWP at something or other, maybe pretending to be the township, where if we had our own depository of documents, if I'm wondering about something, I'm gonna go right to the township to see it. That's one of the issues that I have.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does.
So I would say that in light of Lynn's comments of needing additional information, but I would still use it as a test bed from what you've done so far.
Okay.
Okay?
Have you had any other requests from the one that you did that? Not yet?
no.
Okay. So we're gonna do it as a test. To make life easier, you look sad about it. To make life easier.
It's just been a long day.
It's been a long
Well,
month.
thank you
God
guys
it's
for
almost
coming up. I
over.
appreciate it. So this
Seems
is.
like I gotta stay on doing minutes, so. Have a good weekend, Suzanne.
Thank you, you too. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
And we're orange.
I wore crossbones.
So in the policy manual, I had mentioned that I extracted the drug and alcohol policy to create it as its own,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to putting in there. After looking at it, I mean, I can put it back in if we want to do that, because either way, updating it would require us to make an amendment of some sort, whether it's this or whether it's that. But I think I still like this as a separate document, if you're okay with that.
Well, this as its own separate document then can also be issued to the union employees as well,
Well,
correct?
no, it has to be modified because union employees have different, fire and police have different, so.
Okay,
But it can be utilized to, the information in here can also be utilized to create what they have, So, I don't know, did you have a chance to read that over at all? Basically, it's the information that was in the manual. I will tell you the things that I changed in here. Okay,
Page 4.
page 4, yes. Um, talked about attachment A, which is the sign-off sheet, which I created and put in the back there.
I saw that.
Then this information here was extracted from the fire one. And I believe that the note that was deleted before the board grants our town must sign the blah, blah, blah. I think that this document is the drug and alcohol agreement. So that's why I pulled that out, but I inserted the language from the fire one, which addresses the use of counseling. Policy constitutes a condition of employment. Township reserves the right to offer employees seeking assistance participation in an approved rehab or drug abuse assistance program as an alternate to discipline. And then if such program is offered, accepted by the employee must satisfactorily participate as a condition of continued employment or service. So that is one. I think there was, no, that's back in the other manual. Item 11, compliance with the Drug-Free Workplace Act, Federal Drug Police. There used to be something in there about, see the attachment, and I believe that was pulled from fire at some point by the woman who drafted this for us.
Okay,
Fire doesn't have anything extra either.
okay.
So I think just listing item 11, compliance, that's our statement that we certify it will provide the drug-free. So
Okay,
I pulled that out. And that, I believe, are the only changes that I made to this. And if we are in agreement, I will give this to prosecutor's office to review to make sure.
so the only thing that I wanted to discuss was the township trustee signing it also versus a department head.
You want a department head to sign as well?
I mean, well, not as well, but
Instead of,
what do you think?
well, this is the Board of Trustees policy.
Okay,
That's the reason that
Then-
and the department head has to do one as well.
I feel that if it's going to be the township trustee and the employee's signature, it should be the trustee handing them this, and
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like, not like, here you go,
Yeah.
the department head gives it to you, sign it, and then it'll come to a trustee to sign, I feel that's part of us ensuring that they received it and that they reviewed it. They don't have to read through it right away, but you are committing to me by signing this and me signing this, that you're going to review it and you will abide by.
okay,
So this will be something that the trustees will give. So like, I'll do fire, you'll do police.
Yeah.
As a
Yeah.
general rule. Okay. No, you won't do police because they're union.
I'll do service.
You'll do service.
All right, then back to the manual itself. So you probably note that I restructured it to say excluding firefighters because they have to have their own. They are special in a good way. I put a note, and I made some other changes in here that are just formatting.
Hold
So-
on, I got Zoom all over my file right now. Let me. Should have brought my mouse. There it is. All right, I'm
And I
ready.
will go in, I'm gonna put page references in here for each of these topics as well.
Okay,
I changed some of these chapter titles to agree with what they are inside the manual,
okay,
because that was a little off. Let's go down to the acknowledgement page. I'm gonna move that to the end.
where is that?
That is about the 4th page. It's right up at the top. No, up at the top, over the top. Keep going, keep going. Isn't it there?
Oh,
Come down a little.
I see. I see.
Excuse me.
So
Question. What did you just say about moving something to the end?
the
The acknowledgement.
acknowledgement and receipt page.
Thank you.
It references township policy, procedure, and benefits, including policies on anti-harassment, but it also says substance and drug abuse and rehabilitation drug. If that's in a new,
That should be removed.
that should be removed. So I will take that out. And the rest of that is straightforward.
Okay.
1.2, it was restructured to exclude fire. And then I added the line about employees covered by the manual required to read, sign the acknowledgement. 1.3, I separated that out and created that as the disclaimer,
Okay.
but the text did not change. 2.1, employee classifications, you'll see certain areas in here, this is one of them where.
You added in the word.
Edited in
30.
Word, yeah, so that. And I don't know if you've got highlighted for the 1 point. I highlighted some things as a reference to myself that it's a reference to somewhere else in the document. And I just want to, when I highlighted it, it's so I go in and look and make sure that the reference is correct.
Okay.
We changing his and her to their in most places. It's a lot of grammatical stuff. 2.4 added the word policy to agree with the table of contents.
Okay.
2.6 employee mental relatives. I added stepchild because we had done that in other places.
Oh, good catch.
Changed down in 212. I just changed some
ABC.
Yeah, ABC. 213 is the travel reimbursement policy. And these policies, these are the ones here. We got travel reimbursement, cell phone. These I will take and include in the manual when I assemble it. So it'll be part of that. They'll be tabbed in there.
Okay.
I could do that, or I could include them as exhibits, but I think if I just put them in the back, if we update these things now say the current version of. So if this is updated, then I don't have to update this whole document too. So these will stand, same thing with the drug and alcohol. It'll stand as a separate policy. Then if we update that, that's the only thing that has to be updated.
Okay.
Okay.
So do not include it in here. It would be its own
No.
separate.
Well, like I said, though, I'll put it together in one of these guys with a tab, and then it'll all be together for them to present.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Where are we at here? We are in 214 D,
D.
cell phone usage. And that's just referencing the standalone policy there.
Okay.
Let's see there. Numbers 8485. And section 4.
4.2, it looks like is the next. You added in of their manual, 4.2
Of this manual. Yeah.
of this manual.
And 4.3 discipline B, I just changed time card to time sheet. We had done that
Just to be consistent.
just to be consistent.
Okay.
Since nobody really uses a time card. And 4.9 and 4.10, these again are references to standing policies. Hey,
Hello.
we are just going through the manual. And there's been nothing of substance yet. The only thing-
Well, I apologize to the public. I had a doctor's appointment at 2 o'clock. I tried to have this moved to next week and it wasn't, so here we are.
The first thing with the manual is that I pulled out the drug and alcohol policy and made it a standalone. So that if we have to update it for any reason, we don't have to do the whole manual.
This is the
And-
policy you already gave us to review.
I extracted it
Okay.
from the manual.
Perfect. Thank you.
And everything else hasn't really been much other than I did references to these standalone policies that I received from Martha.
For like the travel reimbursement, the cell
reimbursement.
phone usage.
And we're up to, we're in section 4 now, 4.9 and 4.10. General driving rules and regulation policy, and then vehicle use policy. It's just a reference to look at that outside policy from the manual itself.
Okay, thank you.
413 is language that I put in to indicate that the drug and alcohol policy is outside now.
Was that suggested by the prosecutor?
No, that was me looking at it and looking at the fire one and realizing that it was referencing it just didn't seem to fit in here with everything else, though. It seemed, and if you look through that policy that I gave you,
I did.
I think it's a better option there. And I told Monique I'm gonna send that to
Fire.
prosecutor's office to look at as well.
Okay.
Fire is a little bit different. Because theirs has to be a little bit stronger because of safety forces. So, if they want to update it and take some language from there, that'll be up to us to look at.
Okay, perfect. So you said we're in 4.9?
Yeah, we're cooking.
I feel like we're moving into 4.18.
4.18. That was just the title change to agree with the table of contents.
Can you add it in?
Yeah, and I added in provision for use covered by current version cell phone policy.
Which will be its own separate.
It is, yes.
Title in
Yeah.
5.2A.
5.2. This was
Then all
all,
the policies will just be like addendums to this.
I said I have the extra 4, whatever, and I'll bind them together with the manual. They'll get it all at one time.
That's just a better option for everyone. It's
Yeah.
a lot easier and streamlined. Thank you.
Under group health insurance, this was all mishmashed together, so all I did was create separate titles. And like the insurance plan assessment basically talks about the township looking and trying to get the similar policies and whatnot. It's virtually the same language that was deleted and then just moved down. Okay, 5.5, that paragraph there. It said, employee go to hospital, blah, 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 or to a facility directed by medical control. Took me like a week to find somebody who could tell me what medical control was. And
Was it John? Or Jess?
I sent it to them afterward and said, can you tell me if this is accurate?
He told me you asked.
And they said it was I had Jen read it. She said, yes, that is very applicable there, and just use that language. So I just basically put the definition of it in there so somebody would understand what it's saying is, if these guys are working on something and the physician at the hospital says, take them here, that gives them the right to do that.
Okay.
He just went over that with me this morning. He told me about this conversation.
And a lot of other little things, just putting numbers in.
Hmm.
In 6.2 sick days.
You just spelled
after
it out.
paragraph D, well, after paragraph E, I put in stepson, stepdaughter.
Oh,
Then
you just might wanna,
just a,
in, what is that, after E? At the end where you're spelling everything out, you did 200, you just put 4, not 400. Scroll down, it's right above 6.3. See it?
I do. Oh, mine says 400. Now,
Now. Weird, mine doesn't.
and that, changing that to the 1,200 and 400 hours maximum pay for cash out is in a aligns with what we did for the sergeants and patrolmen.
Mm-hmm.
I have 300.
Pardon?
I have 300.
On what you're looking at? That's must be an older one. Down to 6.4 vacation days, annual vacation leave. We, again, to align with the other contracts, we changed after 7 years of service to after 5 years of service. And then 6.5, payment of accrual vacation leave comp time. Same thing in that second paragraph there to align any sick leave hours, incentive hours in excess of 144. That aligns with the sergeant's contract. Holidays, this was the one where Brian Richter said we had to put in the required mandated by state holidays, and that's Columbus Day, Veterans Day, and Juneteenth. So in January, if we want to do the same thing with swapping out the, what are the other days you guys swap out for? Day before Thanksgiving and
Yeah.
something else.
Day after Thanksgiving, isn't it?
I think it's the day before Thanksgiving.
Oh, probably day after. You're probably
It's the
right,
day
Friday.
after Thanksgiving, yeah.
Is it Christmas Eve is the other one?
I think it's Christmas.
So
Eve.
if we want to do that, we need to create a document that all the employees covered by the manual agree to, and that has to be done on an annual basis.
Oh, so we have to agree every year to do it
The
that way,
employees have to
or they
agree.
can choose, no?
All the employees have to agree every year to do it. And if one guy says no, which I don't think they will, but you can thank the state for that one.
Wow. Okay.
Okay,
Just a kind of a note, just for functionality, are there any way when we're doing the index at the beginning that we can make them all clickable? That's the way the fire handbook is.
Do you
You're-
hyperlink it?
Yeah, I really get, so if you have like a disciplinary action, you can just click on discipline and it takes you straight to that section.
that's a good suggestion. Especially since this is not 3 pages.
No, it's a lengthy endeavor.
I can certainly look at that.
Thank you for that word, Len.
And
And
that is all I
that was
have,
it.
unless you guys have anything else to add.
Thank you for taking the time to go through all that and make the edits.
No, it looks great. For the last.
Good to move on?
Yes.
I will just give you both an update on the sign for the Gibson property. I was able to get a hold of Brian Becker down at Becker Signs again, and he has agreed to provide an updated quote on that. In addition, I have a couple of outside quotes, but they're substantially more than Brian quoted. And he was hesitant to get back involved, but I talked with him. The quotes that I got outside are 1,000 to 2,000 more than Brian had quoted us, and it included service department doing the installation. Outside of that, there's another option that I want to look at, and it's obtaining a steel sign, but we can do graphics on that then. And we could put a small Hinckley flag, Hinckley Township with a flag on it that might look nice. Same color scheme, same thing. And I talked with Mike Bahari, and they'd be able to fabricate the sign frame for it and do a wood post as well. And that should be a substantial cost savings. So once I get the prototype for that, I'll bring that to you guys, and we can take a look at it and see what, if any of those options is favorable to us to present.
Now, is it a standard sign or is it a V shape like he had initially requested?
I looked at the V shape, it's more money, but I think if we do this steel one, it might be affordable for us to be able to do. Hopefully we get to the end of the road on this one.
And it's because the request changes with what is going to be on the sign? Is that
Yeah.
what has kind of slowed this?
Yeah, when I talked with Brian there yesterday, it was just the constant revisions were disruptive to the actual work he was doing. He had customers and was going out and doing the work. And in the meantime, he's investing a lot of time and money into a project that kept getting stalled, and other people were calling him about it. And anyway, that is what that is. So that's just an update on that. The other thing.
Are we thinking, I'm sorry, are you thinking that that would be by next Tuesday or not that soon?
Done or quote?
Quote with images.
I hope.
Tuesday, we
I
don't
hope
have a
for that.
meeting. I think it's the week after.
Sorry,
that,
the
right?
following,
I
the
hope
7th.
so. I hope so,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
The other thing that I wanted to mention was I went to the annexation appeal hearing, and there was no resolution there, so it will be going to the court for their decision.
Is there a timeline?
Not at this time.
And was counsel present for that mediation?
Yes.
And how did he feel about things? Or you cannot say?
I mean, I could say if you're comfortable with me saying it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Okay.
whatever you think.
I would say that it doesn't look promising. He indicated that, if you find a defect, then they are able to reapply. And he said eventually they'll correct all the defects and there won't be anything to appeal about. But I did talk with the principal from Drug Mart there, and I pitched a case, it would be nice for some goodwill, that we're able to offer that. The 50% abatement is on the table, and it would be nice for him he could be a hero to the town here. And but I don't know, if they'll take that under advisement. But let's just say, I did what I could.
Was a JED discussed at all or brought up?
It was brought up at length. And I was kind of disappointed in that's what was being driven home. So, because the board had agreed that we weren't looking at one at this time.
Right. That has been very clear from the beginning of we need to get through the annexation
Well,
appeal prior to entertaining or discussing a JED.
I
So-
just think it's a way to maybe mediate. It's just to have discussion. I don't know what a JED looks like for us, but I think it's a way to definitely mediate.
Well, I will tell you this, Brunswick asked for a JED for the entire corridor. And the purpose of a JED is to invite development. And I know that most of the folks in town do not want to see a lot of development. And when you have a JED, it has a board, and the board is the one who sets the zoning requirements there. So we would lose that authority. So
And I don't want to go any further with it because I do not want to violate executive session, what we discussed when we met with our council in executive session. So that's disappointing to hear that was what was being discussed at length.
all right, the only other, I just have a question about the meeting that was requested for Monday.
Yes,
Can you say what that's for?
the purpose was sent to you.
I saw that before. There's
That's the
no
purpose.
detail.
That's the purpose. I don't feel that it's necessary to go into it if we're going to be going into an executive session to discuss it.
Yeah, well, if you can't provide me information on what it is, I would prefer
I'd
not
be
to
happy to
attend.
provide you information. I just don't think that this is the right time. I'm still having conversation with the prosecutor about it.
I thought we agreed that if we go to the prosecutor, we would discuss it prior to, or no?
I'm discussing it with the prosecutor. I had a conversation today and waiting on one more email.
Okay.
Just for guidance purposes.
So you will send an email letting us know what this is regarding.
I will do my best to notify you as soon as information becomes available to me.
Very well. Do you have anything else?
I have a couple things. Trustee Ashell, did you have anything?
No.
Wanted to see if we could discuss a date for a tree ceremony to kind of do like a ribbon cutting of the 2 trees that were planted at the Historical Society in honor of Trustee Rhodes and Trustee Schulte before weather gets bad. Do you have any dates in mind?
Have you spoken to the families?
No, I was gonna notify them once we kind of determine dates. I would think that a Saturday would be ideal so that there would be minimal conflict. And invite the community out to be a part of it.
Well, I am out of town for the next, the 4th?
Yeah,
The 4th and the weekend of the 11th. I could do something during the week of the 6th.
Do you have a date that you prefer?
like the 9th. Let me check my work.
Does it have to be during the day or night? What?
I would think that like that, our trustee time, our like 6:30 is probably a good idea, just so families.
Is
can
it dark though
be
at that
in
point?
attendance.
It's starting to get dark.
It's starting to, but it's not dark.
We have the special meeting for the bid opening on the 9th at 1.
At 1.
Yeah, I could do any time except that day.
I could not do the 9th in the evening. That's why I could not do the 10th. I'm going to be out of town. I can't do the 13th.
What about the 8th?
I mean, I could do.
What about the 18th?
I can't do the 18th. That's the Hinckley holiday market, but I could do the 19th.
What do you think?
I love to tell you at this time, but that far out I have to check.
Okay, well, why don't you get back to us about potentially the 19th?
Okay.
Is that a date that would work for you as of right now, Melissa?
It will work for me. Prefer not
Okay.
to do a lot on Sunday, but that will work for me. I think it's a good day for families as well.
What
So
time would you be looking at there?
it's a good question. Noon?
I'll just put noon-ish.
Perfect. And then also I got notification from Mr. Carpenter at Hinckley Elementary that they are available for our December 5th meeting if we wanted to make that at the Hinckley Elementary School at 9:30 in the morning, like we had previously discussed. I know that third graders are looking at our website and doing some research because typically there's a quiz that coincides with it so that the kiddos who answer questions correctly are in the running for a cute little prize from one of our Hinckley businesses. So I talked to a third grader the other day. They were very excited about the possibility of us coming in. And December 5th aligns with their schedule. So I wanted to see what you guys thought about that so I could notify Suzanne if
Is
Here we
there,
go.
is there a reason they can't come up here to this where we're all set up already? And
I just think there's so many of them. It's easier for us and our department heads just to go there. It's traditionally been done that way.
again, I need to check and just make sure before I do that, okay?
Okay, so that's a traditional meeting day. It would just be 9:30 in the morning versus the 6:30 in the evening.
It is the day we are supposed to be announcing the winning home also.
Well, that would be perfect there.
They
It would be
love that.
perfect there. I agree, Ryan.
I want to throw this out there. Maybe to make a special meeting on December 5th and do something very abbreviated so they see how government functions, but not have an actual full meeting in front of these third graders. I just think that they are going to be bored out of their minds. And if we can do something, that maybe that's what we do is we announce, like, thanks to you, thanks for all of you voting, and this is how democracy works, that this is the winning home. I mean, and we can each say something and have a department head kind of explain what they do, but then still have our regular meeting. I think they're gonna be bored to tears. And this is just me speaking as the mother of an 11-year-old who would be bored. I mean, you guys see him. He comes to these meetings sometimes. He sits in the back, on his phone playing, and he's double the age of these kids. So I just want to throw that out there as maybe a possibility, as I know it's something that, was always done prior to COVID. So maybe it's something that we can continue to do, but pivot a little bit. There's always room to make things better.
I think it's a great idea. We traditionally do try to keep it like a shorter meeting. It's not as long as a traditional meeting. They're just so excited to have the police chief and the fire chief there and us there and Mike Curry there. And we try to do something special just to keep it interesting for them, but it's also a meeting. But yeah, to your point, I mean, it is generally.
But that could be
shorter
very special for them of saying, you guys just voted on this last week.
Yeah, I think it's
So,
perfect timing.
so let us know. I know since that is a meeting day, I know that I am available that day because I try to always be available all day on Tuesday when there's a meeting. So I am available that day. Jack, if you want to get back to us and let us know about that.
Will do.
Perfect. Then, I just wanted to make sure we all agreed to do the chamber trees. I know they're advertising for it. We had waited for the map. Did you all get the map?
I
did.
did get the
Okay,
map.
and so
Yes.
we're all in agreement to move forward on that. I just want to make sure that we're saying that publicly, that we're in agreement since they're advertising it.
I am in agreement based on the map, but I did not see, unless I somehow missed it, I did not see anything about decorate, like themes. We talked about not wanting to be offensive to anybody, you know, that we don't want to see that, you know, there's one tree that's maybe a Roman Catholic tree and another tree that is a Jewish tree on you know, township property. So I want to make sure that I didn't miss something that was sent to us and, you know, it's going to be stuck with, you know, like the Santa Claus and the Nutcracker and the gingerbread, you know, those Christmas symbols that people see that aren't likely to offend people as much as like a specific religion.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't have a preference either way. I think that everybody celebrates differently. Some people might put blue decorations on or, you know, and that might make someone think it's more of a Hanukkah celebration.
I agree completely
But
with
we
you.
can't control everything that they do. So that's why I'm asking if we're in agreement for them to move forward. Because like I said, they're advertising it.
I'm in complete agreement with you. And I think that there are a bunch of different ways to celebrate. But what was brought up at that meeting was, you know, we used to have the nativity set on township property and then someone complained about it. So it got moved to the church. So I am looking, I think it's a great idea. I love the idea. I just want to make sure that the township is protected and we're not going to upset anyone or offend anyone. And I don't necessarily think that I have the right answer to it, but I just want to make sure, let's discuss it now to put the parameters in place to try and protect the township. Those are my thoughts on it. Maybe you.
That's why I brought it up. I just wanted to hear what you guys thought about it.
What do you want to put in place?
And I mean, I probably should pull up what they were advertising.
I thought you were raising your hand, Lynn, with the suggestion.
No, I'm just trying to exercise while I'm sitting up, sorry.
Who was it that sent that tree drawing? Do you remember?
Mark
Mark
Staron,
brought it in.
he brought it. I don't think he emailed it.
So it says the Happy Hinckley Holidays event on Saturday, December 2nd. Featuring treats, decorations, and entertainment is free to the public. In order to pay for it, the chamber is organizing a holiday tree decorating contest 50-50 fundraiser. Proceeds are split between the chamber and the winner. How it works: eligible teams, families, organizations, companies sign up to decorate a tree to be, bear with me, I just clicked on something and it went away. To be displayed in downtown Hinckley, must reside or have a business in Hinckley. The cost is, decorating teams are responsible for the cost. LED lighting only by decorating team. Each team is responsible for removing decorations. There's nothing really on here specific to what decorating looks like. And I to your point, Trustee Asher, I don't know that if we want to put something on this, we probably need to do it sooner rather than later.
Do we also want to add in a date of when the decorations need to be removed by?
It does say on
It
the,
does say.
yeah, it does say within 2 weeks,
Of New Year's or?
no, before the end, I think it's like before the end of the December.
It says the names of participants will receive a sign and place by their tree from December 15th to the 30th.
And then it must be removed.
Decorating starts November 15th. The event's December 2nd. Judges finalize vote December 8th and December 15th. The winner is announced. I'm not seeing a date to take the tree down, but it looks like they look to have them up from December, or they'll have a sign up to designate the trees on December 15th to the 30th. After they announce the winner. So no one knows who they are before judging happens.
Right, they're just going to put a number on the tree and then you're.
Oh, okay.
that number
Gotcha.
And then the
then-
name associated with it will come after the winner is announced.
After the winner is announced, yes.
How many was there? Was there like,
30. The maximum was 30, I believe.
I think they're gonna get more than that. I mean, I think they're gonna want more people involved in it.
I don't know for sure.
I'm trying to think of language.
What are you trying to say?
Well, and I was just gonna say, what you said earlier really was that you want more a Christmas feel or a holiday feel. Not specific with any type of
Like
religious.
non-denominational?
Yeah, so
Mhm.
no. crosses or-
Non-denominational. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's just it, non-denominational
Yeah.
trees.
Okay, I can pass that information along to the chamber. And I just wanted to let you both know that I sent an email to Ohio Edison, First Energy. We've got lights out at Ridge and Bellis as well as 606 and Kellogg. Waiting for those lights to be fixed. So just so the public knows, we are working on that. And then I just lastly wanted to follow up and see if anyone had heard from Columbia Gas on those questions that the residents had
Yeah,
at the last meeting.
he just texted me earlier today that they're preparing answers on them. I think you probably saw the responses from
Right.
in-house, yeah.
Yeah, but it was that Columbia Gas component that we were waiting on.
Yeah.
Okay. And then did you guys discuss the Google Drive?
We
Mhm.
did.
And what did we decide with that?
We're going to move forward on a test case scenario because we already have one established. Gonna touch base with Martha regarding digital records request, the retention policy on digital records, which we said probably should have already happened because we already have records requests that we have completed
That are
digitally,
electronically.
digitally. Sorry.
And then
And Lynn's
also,
getting some
I
additional
need to-
information.
I need to learn more about the Google Drive and what's the capabilities and what kind of storage that brings up as far as the cloud storage and if, you know, what are our limits as far as the amount without having to pay extra, basically.
Like a Dropbox has a fee associated when there's more storage.
I'm telling you with PDFs, thousands. Because I have it in my own Dropbox, it's thousands, and I've only got like 5 GB of storage.
So, and we're going to do like videos separate, things that eat up a lot of storage would
Well, the
be.
videos are all on the wonderful, the ones that we've recorded for the last, however long we've been doing it, almost a year, or if not over a year, are all available on YouTube. We just don't link to them from the website. We keep 3 months on the website.
But I think it had somebody requested, like somebody who was involved in a traffic stop asked for body cam video. That would be a video that you would have to provide.
Oh, okay.
Not in Google. Just send that in an email.
So what are the parameters of this? I mean, is it moving forward that, and what are our
It's going to be a case,
frequent?
yeah, case by case basis based on, and what Suzanne was saying was if it's gonna be normally on a request, if it's more than 2 emails that have to go out, we're gonna put it on a Google Drive. And if it's frequently requested, we're gonna put it on the Google Drive. But again, I have to figure it out.
And what's the definition of frequent?
More than twice.
More than twice.
I think frequent is more than twice, but that's just my opinion. I thought we were gonna wait for all the whole board to be collectively together to make the decisions and have conversation about this, so. it was a
Okay, do
little
you want to
dis-
have any further conversation on it?
Well, I don't know that it's,
are procedures changing secondary to this? I mean, when
What procedure?
Suzanne gets a records request that asks for instance, the survey results from the Kimball survey that we just sent out. Is she just supposed to just put them into the drive, or does the request still come to the board? Because all requests, according to sunshine laws, come to us. Suzanne's not supposed to determine what records we do or don't have.
I never got the records request for the trash survey. I never even saw it. They fulfilled it in the front office, and that was the experiment that they put on the Google Drive.
Why, she's part of the administration in the
Well,
office.
okay, so the survey itself, but what if they were asking for correspondence of the survey? Or correspondence as it pertained to anything that had to do with it?
Involving the trustees, then
Yeah.
you would have to respond.
So, I mean, I think we need to really fine tune the procedures to make sure that we're following the procedures.
I think that all three trustees, the zoning inspector, the fiscal officer, I think everybody should have access to the Google Drive, so we know what's on there. So we know if we need to add anything based on a records request.
And do you agree that frequent is 2 times?
What I said, I was a proponent, put everything in there, it's a filing cabinet. And then they've already been provided as a public record, so they're out in the wild anyway. Anybody wants to look at it, set everything to view only. That was mine, but because of issues, she's not sure about capacity and whatnot. We boiled it down to, if you've got something out there and somebody's asked for it, and instead of somebody having to bother the township again, put another records request in, if they have access to it and it's there, let them look at it there.
So the access is to everyone.
Why not?
I'm just asking. I don't
Yeah.
know what you. just got discussed.
Anyone who would, yes, Lynn.
I'm not, like I said, we have to do more research on, I have to
Right.
do more research on it, so.
The
let's
access
just-
is to anyone anyone who contacts us for a records request would receive access to it. It's not this like free for all, anybody can just log into Google Drive. They would specifically have to ask for information that is on the Google Drive.
What she said on that one.
Okay, like I said, I'm just trying to understand the parameters. I wasn't here for the conversation.
I think I know what you're about to ask with that, if we're done with this conversation. Are we done with the Google Drive, or do you still have more concerns?
I didn't have anything else to add.
Okay. I think I know why you're holding up that trash survey. And that is the results have been tallied from the trash survey, but can we still receive additional surveys just for informational purposes so that it gives us a better idea of who would want to opt out? Am I on the?
And what do I do with it?
How many extras did you get? One?
So far,
People have contacted me and asked me, they said, oh, I forgot to send that in. And I'm like, well, you can still do it, because if you're going to want to opt out, I was really hoping we would get additional back, because the results are what they are. We already have publicly addressed the results. So it's not going to alter those results in any ways, but it's going to help us when we are bidding this next year to have a better understanding of how many people actually want to opt out, because I can guarantee it's more than the 67 that we got back.
what I thought was interesting too, if I can add something to that.
No, you're done. Yes.
If I could add something, the amount of people that replied with the survey being sent back to us. There was probably 67 people that have opted out of the 276 that we got.
Mhm.
Of those 67 people, the people that said yes, I applied to opt out. The second question was, am I in favor of maintaining a single trash hauler? 33% or 31.3%, something like that. 31 to 32% of the people that said they've opted out before were still in favor of a single trash hauler,
Mhm.
which I found to be interesting.
Mhm.
Just that blanket,
Mhm. And I spoke
That is
last week
funny. Why would you? That's funny.
I spoke to Gail last week. You know why? Because
You're gonna be forced to do it and it's gonna be cheaper.
No, they're opting out. They don't pay.
because what I have
If
heard,
you
the
wanna talk
feedback
about
I've
it.
heard is they like the fact that there's less cars, less trucks on the road and the trash cans are out,
Okay.
the same day.
All right.
So, yeah, do you have something to add?
I'm okay. It'll be all right.
And then, so what do I do with this one? Do I? just
I would
put a
collect them because it
separate
has data
log?
in it.
Do I do a separate log? for
Separate
it?
log, say
Separate log for it?
surveys received
Is that what
after
we
a
did with the
deadline.
Survey results for the comprehensive plan audit.
I don't remember.
I don't think we took any after
Yeah,
that.
I don't think we did.
Yeah.
But, this is.
We're not accepting it as part of the survey, but for collecting data
Okay.
to,
I know we
Monique's
did
point,
with the
yeah.
audit also. We did save them. They're still in the envelopes. They were not
You
included.
know what? That's right.
Yeah.
We were, okay.
Yep, we kept them because it was a record that we received. So we had to keep them, but they did not get filtered in with the audit results.
Okay. Okay.
So I would say if you do a separate file
Okay,
so that we don't have to worry about those being, kind of muddying the numbers that you already crunched for us. Yeah.
Thank you for your work on the survey results. I know that wasn't an easy task.
I love,
Appreciate it.
just ask Monique. I love numbers.
Yes, you do. And a little simple reminder that opt-out officially begins Monday morning.
How many
No, not
opt-out?
Monday morning.
Tuesday, what?
Wednesday morning. at
Wednesday
9
morning.
November
Wednesday
1st.
morning at 9 a.m.
People start getting us.
That's why you are still here.
November 1st.
How many opt-outs do we have openings?
I will
don't
find
know
out the official word by Tuesday.
Okay.
So I have to get the official number of residents in Hinckley Township, Ohio. By then. That's what I did last year, so that's what I'm gonna do this year,
Okay,
because that's as close as I can get to it.
Right.
So,
the day before.
one more thing, but
Why do you have candy?
for the Hinckley Halloween. trick or treat
Oh,
thing.
very nice.
anything else?
That's it. On.
It's gone, I forgot.
Do you have anything?
Oh, I just
I-
remembered. I'm sorry, guys. There was, if anybody is either hasn't gotten their trash or recycling pickup, there was a truck broken down on Center Road when I was coming back in here today. And they were working on it. So I don't know if it's a recycling truck or a trash truck, but it was right at the top of Center Hill beyond, like in between the two hills before you go to state. So if anybody's missing their pickup, that might be why.
Interesting. Mine was done before 9 a.m. So thank you.
Two more quick ones, then we'll be done. One is, we just paid for that OTA training and the Township Association paid for it for everybody.
Oh my gosh, I saw that. I saw that.
I know.
So maybe we can get our money back. Call Capital One, cancel it. Secondly, I don't know if you saw it. We were somewhere, I heard about this a month ago. Some guy came up to us and says, "You're from Hinckley? I guess we will be the best place in the world to watch the solar eclipse that's coming up." And that's why you're getting emails from EMA about it, because the entire county is doing a plan because they're expecting so many people to come here.
That's why I forwarded it off to our department heads today, because
So
I went through the email and there's.
it should be crazy.
It's
You might want to leave that week. I don't know.
Rent out your house.
The guy that was selling us, we
I
had a
mean-
doctor's appointment for my wife and she invited him over. So he's parking in our driveway.
So we're all going to your house? That's what I heard.
Anyway,
I will talk to the OTA and see if we can get some type of a refund for that, since we paid for it preemptively. We're good planners right here.
anything else? Anything out here? I will move to adjourn at 4:14 PM.
Second.
Seconded by Ashwell. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.